It's all good news for the grapes at Yearlstone Vineyard. For only at Juliet White, it's a special time of year.
September is probably one of my favourite months. It's definitely different. The weather sort of feels a little bit fresher and the light changes as well, which I really like. So early morning in September, probably my favourite month.
The weeks of hot weather have done their work on the vines. The ripening grapes have passed an important milestone.
We've actually got past veraison, which is a French term, and it relates to when they start to ripen. It's when they start actually changing from a hard green to this translucent, pale yellowy sort of colour. So, you know, I know they're going to be ready in about 2 weeks, looking at them already.
But the weather isn't all they have to worry about. The crop could still fail at any moment if mildew sets in or pests devour the grapes.
Years when we've had extreme epidemic of wasps, they just eat the whole lot, totally ruin it. And there's not really very much you can do.
Hidden under the ground is an even bigger threat, a threat that's hungry and resourceful.
We just couldn't understand it. We couldn't understand where the grapes had gone. There were just stalks hanging down. And eventually we found what comes out the other end and put 2 and 2 together and talked to a few other growers and found out that it was badgers.
Badgers, wasps. It's amazing the grapes have made it this far. But now there's only a couple of weeks left before the harvest, so it's tense times for Juliet. While she's the qualified winemaker, husband Roger provides the muscle and gets his hands dirty. Shoveling muck, he's a world away from his other job as a radio journalist.
The glamour of wanting to do it, really. You know, I mean, there wasn't in any of the manuals this. When you walk around the vineyards and a bottle of wine, shoveling guns, you know, sort of. But it's all good fun, really, isn't it? Keeps you fit.
To get everything ready for the moment the grape reaches perfection. Their livelihood is in the lap of the gods. Away from picking. For they'll be harvested at exactly the right moment. Juliet and Roger's fortunes depend on it. It's a nervous moment. The first test of the crop. The 100-berry sample. It's the combination of sugar levels and acidity that dictate when the grapes should be harvested. Roger uses a refractometer to measure the precise sugar levels in 100 grapes. He's expecting a reading of 60 on his scale. Higher than that, and the grapes will be already ripe.
Ooh. 70, which is a little bit worrying. I would hope that the whole lot isn't 70, because I'll be picking tomorrow, I think.
With sugar levels in the first grapes much higher than expected, it's not good news. If they have to pick now, they're just not ready. They still need a press, pickers, and decent weather to harvest.
I'm getting more and more the feeling that these are riper than I thought. Pick a green one. Deliberately pick a green one. Right, one at the back of the bunch, not in the sun. 64. They're all way over 60. I haven't had one below 60.
Roger's readings all tell the same. So hot, the grapes have ripened much earlier than expected. These are worrying times in the vineyard, with tests on the grapes not turning out as planned.
Well, let's have a look at the acid.
Juliet tests the grapes in her home laboratory to make sure the results are accurate. As important as the sugar levels is the acidity in grapes, which gives wine its freshness. The two must balance. An acidity reading over 10 could spell danger for the wine.
How'd it go?
70 and 13.
13?
13. That's what I think.
That's weird.
This is the third time.
And it's set 13 every time?
I'm just going to do a third one. That should be all right now. I'll have a look at that now. Oh my God. They're ripe.
So what do you want to do with that? I mean, if you've got very high sugars and you've got high acidity, do you want to have them picked or do you want to wait?
Well,
Now Roger and Juliet will have to pull out all the stops to harvest the grapes before it's too late. It's D-Day at the Yearlstone Vineyard. The grapes are ready to harvest. The hot summers ripened them quickly. Juliet and Roger are having to pick earlier than they planned, and they're short of pickers.
I've got 9 pickers and I really need about... It's funny, some years, you know, people just sort of, they all volunteer and you get loads of people along, and other years you can't scrap them all together for love of money. David and Heather,
They're trying every name in the book, but when a day's hard work picking grapes is on offer, it seems everyone's suddenly busy.
Oh, that's bad news. You know why I was ringing. No, haven't got anybody else. We'll just have to go with
Go with what we got. Okay.
Things are going from bad to worse.
Was there much rain when you were driving down?
It was raining.
The weather's turned ugly. The last thing they need is rain. Water in the grapes can damage the crop, but down it comes. Just as all seems lost, their luck changes. As the pickers arrive, the clouds break and the rain passes. Now, there's just a small matter of picking a ton of grapes. It's hard work. All the grapes must be hand-picked, and these old vines produce very small grapes.
You get fantastic quality, but you get very little quantity. You can see why, because you get these tiny little berries, really concentrated flavours. But, you know, you get very little per vine, and it takes a lot of fiddly picking.
With Roger in charge of picking in the vineyard, Juliet takes care of preparing the press. But she's still anxious about the weather.
The worst thing that could happen now is this rain actually comes back and it just pours down the rest of the day, which will make picking absolutely miserable and will dilute the juice.
It's all a bit touch and go. And just as the first load's ready to transport, there's another setback. At the vineyard, it's all hands to the pump. The workers have to harvest the grapes before the rain returns. But not all the pickers seem to be pulling their weight. As the day draws on, the harvest is falling short of Roger's expectations.
We're getting through it, but I'm only going to get a ton today, really, instead of a ton and a half. Which, you know, it's a press load. It's okay. Could have done better. Just short of 1,000 bottles probably from today.
After a long, hard day of picking, the grapes can now be loaded into the wine press. Against the odds, it seems the harvest is a success.
They're exactly the sugar levels and acid levels that A was expecting and B was wanting. So I'm pretty pleased, I suppose, really. And at least they're picked. And that's the great thing. They're actually picked and off and stop worrying about them now.
Hip hip hooray. It's been a long day.
That's it. Okay. Yeah.
It's a that presses these grapes.
It's like rainfall, isn't it? A rainfall of grape juice.
It's crunch time for Juliet and Roger. The truth is in the tasting of the raw material.
Bang on.
Let's bang on.
Bang on.
Bang on.
That's right.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I've been working for that since at least December 2005. That's when I started pruning the vines. Very well behaved. Oh, almost.
tired and emotional, Roger and Juliet can finally raise a glass to the vintage of 2006.
Cheers.